Let's take a look at our race analysis. As you can see, this race is 134 laps, just over 200 miles. Our stage 1 is 30 laps, stage 2 is 30 laps. That final stage, 74 laps. So the question is, when do you put on that last set of tires in that final stage? You see our pit window somewhere between 50 and 55 laps.
When you heard Grant mention it, tire wear is going to be an issue today as well. So always something to balance, that's for sure, when you put those that last set of tires on. Good point, Phil. Let's go back downstairs and check in with our pit reporters pre-green here and begin with Regan Smith.
Well, Vince, we have 8 trucks here this weekend focused on a Drivers' Championship when we get to Phoenix next week. But there are a couple teams, including Ryan Preece's team, that are focused on a Owners' Championship and getting to race for that in Phoenix. Ryan Preece, a great day yesterday. What seemed to be, after the rain came, he was going to start on the pole. Unapproved adjustments after qualifying, though, and that truck will have to drop to the rear. He told me that doesn't change the goal and the mission. He said this truck is extremely fast. When I asked him how fast extremely fast is, he just spoke about Nashville, Tennessee earlier this year, where, of course, Ryan Preece won that race as well. Josh?
Speaking of race winners, your most recent winner is the 25 of Matt DiBenedetto, and he called that win his first in NASCAR, a weight off his shoulder. He said at that point he was so tired of coming up just short, but it came at a great time as they have their eyes towards next season, trying to get sponsors and just get the team to gel the way they want for a full season. But just because he got that win doesn't mean he's satisfied. Now he says he wants more, and here at Miami Homestead is a place where he feels comfortable running that top line. So look out for the 25 to be another dangerous truck out there, and he really wants to go twice in a row, guys.
Thank you, gentlemen. And a little pep talk here for the 18 of Chandler Smith.
All right, boys. We know what we got to do today. Just do what we know best, stay out of trouble, just try to get to next race. Love each and every one of you guys. Have some fun.
We'll be there at lap 134 to go to Phoenix and make it happen.
Sounds like a good plan to me.
Good stuff from Chandler Smith, and points-wise, he's in a pretty good position today. And as Phil said, stage points, stage points, stage points.
Exactly.
So important. By the way, Ryan Preece was supposed to start on pole, dropping all the way to the tail. Last time we raced here at Homestead, June of 2020, the winner came from the tail. That was Kyle Busch. So it's not easy to do,
but it's doable.
But it's doable, and especially if you've got a fast truck, as Preece indicated to Regan Smith that he is a believer in the speed of that truck. And give you one more peek at that playoff leaderboard. Of course, Ty Majeski already in yellow after that win at Bristol to begin the round. And Chandler Smith, Zane Smith, Ben Rhodes feeling good at the moment.
How about 4 guys within 5 points?
And how about, I talked about Grant Enfinger, he's just wanting to throw a Hail Mary.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows exactly what he's got to do to get to Phoenix to race for a championship, and that's got to be refreshing for that team. He seemed ultimately very relaxed when we talked to him on the radio, and that's a good feeling.
Radio from the 66 of Majeski.
Thank you guys again. Another great truck. Let's go try and make your way to the front here, get some momentum back before we had to run for a championship. Thank you guys again.
What a great story that team has been this season. Onboards.
Look on his head. That means the world to me, Vince. I love that visor cam that John Hunter Nemechek, rolling off in the 13th position, will carry for us. Just a great view of what it's like to be behind the wheels of one of these trucks. You can see straight up ahead the competition. John Hunter's got a ways to go, but he's got a very fast truck.
We've talked about Stuart Friesen. That's him in the Hallmark Toyota. He's going to start in the 9th spot. He will be our in-race reporter. Stuart Friesen is used to making gains in big races, and this is a big one for him right here.
First stage, 30 laps. And to begin this race, Ben Rhodes will start on the front row in that orange 99, and that is Matt DiBenedetto on the inside. Winner at Talladega last time out, his first career win. In fact, our last 2 races have produced first-time winners in Majeski and DiBenedetto. Could we get another one today? Such a big day at Homestead-Miami Speedway, and we're racing in the Camping World Truck Series.
And we're blocking already as we head to turn 1.
That didn't take long.
How about Chandler Smith jumps to the inside of Ben Rhodes.
These tires, Vince, they fall off in a hurry. These drivers know this is the best the truck is going to feel, so they're very aggressive trying to gain some positions.
4 wide down the backstretch into 3.
See Christian Eckes, the 99, lined up behind the 18 of Chandler Smith. He was the fastest truck in practice.
That 25 truck of Matt DiBenedetto is up on the outside, and he did not get a great start, but he's recovered nicely. Got up on the outside and is making some time. Here's that start I'm talking about. Look at him falling behind early.
It looked like 2 or 3 guys spun the tires here. With brand new tires, it's going to only get worse when you have hot tires.
And when they dropped the green flag, we saw them 4 or 5 wide there in the pack, trying to sort themselves out, giving you an indication of what the restarts are going to be like today. And as you noted, Phil, when those tires are fresh, that's the time to get spots. Right now, Ben Rhodes out front, Chandler Smith and Christian Eckes with DiBenedetto and Zane Smith in the top 5. And there's the 19 making a move. That's Kraus to the bottom.
Man, that was very aggressive getting to the bottom. It just didn't stick. You could see the truck wobbling around as he dove to the bottom. Really difficult. You can enter the corners fast at the bottom, but it's really hard to exit it that way.
On board with Friesen, and just ahead of him is Kligerman in near contact.
They don't know how close that was.
Look at John Hunter right up against the wall.
Did he scrub it?
Almost looked like he did.
Yeah,
you see the right damage to the right in the right rear corner as well. Remember, Grant Enfinger talked about not pushing that right rear quarter panel over too early in the race. They rely on that body being out a little bit for that side force.
A couple of trucks checking up there in front of Nemechek, and I think John Hunter really had anywhere to go as Kraus had to back out of it. Friesen had to back out of it. Ride with John Hunter here.
Now, that might not seem like much at home, but because of the aerodynamics, see that right rear, what Enfinger was talking about, they want to take care of that right rear. And man, getting that bent in this early is a big deal.
How does that change the handling of the truck?
It just makes it loose. They lean on that right rear in order to get through the corners. It's out in the air. The trucks are built that way with the rear ends shifted over to the right, and it just really makes the truck handle better. He looks like he survived that first little scrape because he's got good speed here, looking on the outside of Kligerman off turn 4.
Remember, John Hunter Nemechek running double duty this weekend. He'll run the Cup car for 23:11, and they practiced and qualified earlier today. He was fastest in practice, qualified 4th, so got to feel good about himself coming into this race here in the truck, but a little adversity early.
Well, the truck doesn't look like it's any worse for the wear right now, but you got to certainly keep the right side protected.
I caught a glimpse of that. It looked like it was pushed over some, but obviously he still has a lot of speed here right now, running in the 6th spot.
Well, Matt DiBenedetto is the guy that's fallen back. He started on the front row. He's already back to the 8th position, and I think that's what's caused a little bit of the jumbling up at the front. Matt doesn't have the pace right now. As you can see, Crafton in that bright yellow truck is going to look to the inside of that 25.
Crafton in the 88, 3-time series champ. The only driver in this field who has won a truck race here at Homestead-Miami.
We talked about the Smith boys needing those stage points. They're running 2nd and 3rd right now. If they could hold on to the end of the stage, that would be good news for those 2 drivers.
On board with Friesen in the 5th spot. Josh.
Yeah, let's get an update on the 98 of Christian Eckes. Now, during practice, his big concern was after 15 laps, he would start to get really loose. Well, right now he's saying he's really tight on throttle, so a concern right now for the 98 who's running 4th.
Eyes wide open. You can see running that white line on the bottom. Another driver's up against the wall. We're going to see that all day long.
No room for error for those in the hunt for one of those championship 4 spots. Ben Rhodes out front at Homestead.
Stage 1 underway here from Homestead-Miami Speedway. Ben Rhodes currently in front of the field. Ben, the defending series champion, is the first driver to the good of the cut line. Only 3 points entering this race. But when I talked to Ben yesterday before practice and qualifying, he told me he's taking an entirely new approach to the playoffs this year. Those 3 points don't concern him at all.
Actually, I'm surprisingly calm compared to my old self. If you asked me 2 or 3 years ago, I would have been freaking out. Now, having done this and going through a tight points battle the previous year to win the championship, I feel like we're ready to execute and accomplish. So I'm calm, I'm relaxed, and I know my team feels the same way. With the amount of pressure that is, on the lines here, I'm really happy with everybody's performances so far. Now we've just got to stay that way when the green flag drops.
As I mentioned, that discussion came before Ben had even qualified. Went out there, qualified second, with Priest moving to the back of the field. It's Ben Rhodes who is currently controlling this race.
Camping World Truck Series racing from Homestead-Miami Speedway. Great to have you with us today here on FS1. John Hunter Nemechek into the outside wall again. Second time that Nemechek has had a little contact with that outside wall.
Wow, this is big. Can't be doing that racing for a championship.
Long way to go.
Oh, there goes a tire.
Yeah.
Oh, Nemechek, one of our championship hopefuls, trying to secure a spot in that championship 4. Problems early. Told me earlier this week, just can't beat ourselves.
Michael, you talked about these trucks are more susceptible to flat tires because of the metal bodies. I think that's exactly what happened to John Hunter Nemechek here.
They might get a tire on it and get back on the track, but I don't see any way this truck's competitive.
Halfway through.
Ooh, a lot of damage
Stage
that
1,
time.
and there is significant damage.
Man, oh man.
See the bed back there, it's bent up. Looks like maybe that right front's, the toe end is off on it.
Yeah, that right rear quarter panel that's flared out is now definitely straight, so that's going to hurt that truck. You can see it right there, how straight it is down the side.
Josh Sims.
And you see the 4 of John Hunter Nemechek in right now. Been trying to run that top line and got into the wall several times. The right front went down. They also had to pull out the right fender. And over the radio, he just said to his guys, "I'm sorry."
Well, you remember when we went to Phoenix a year ago racing for the championship and got into the wall in the first lap. So much talent behind the wheel, but it just tells you how much pressure there is for these drivers to go out there and perform at this level at this time of the season.
Yeah, there you see the tire go down there. It wasn't a rapid deflation, but enough to get him in the wall.
Here's a good look of it from Friesen's perspective. That's John Hunter just in front of him.
That's when he scraped it the first time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or the second time.
Second time, but that's what did the damage and cut that tire down for sure.
Third time wiped him out. Made it back to the track like we said, but a couple of laps down.
Heartbreaking for John Hunter Nemechek and that 4 team. Crew chief Eric Phillips, the winningest crew chief in series history. He's got a couple of owners championships, does Eric Phillips as crew chief, but never a driver's title. And doesn't look like it's going to happen this year either. 18 of 30 down here in stage 1.
Good battle here. Eckes really working that low line and making some good ground. You can see him gaining on Friesen as they exit. That's the hard part. Like I said, diving in the corner and getting up beside a guy is relatively easy to do. It's completing the pass that's so difficult.
battle for fourth.
I think Eckes is better right now. Can't make his way around, and they're closing up on the back of Zane, so really tight up front as you see Chandler Smith in second just go out of the screen.
What a season it's been for Christian Eckes, not only making the playoffs, but he's been hot. I mean, he comes into this race 4 straight top 10s. Been second a couple of times this season. Doesn't have a win this year. He did win last year at Las Vegas, about this time of year, in fact. But don't sleep on Christian Eckes, even though he doesn't have a win yet this season. He is more than capable.
Okay, guys, one of the drivers I've been keeping my eye on is that 23 truck of Grant Enfinger. He has made his way all the way up to the 8th position. That's Matt Crafton, the 88 and 7th. Remember, he started 23rd in a must-win situation. He has a great race truck. You keep watching the lap times. He's always top 2 or 3 speeds. Grant Enfinger's on his way to the front.
As is Ty Majeski. He's running really strong lap times right now as well. As you can see, Enfinger around the top of Crafton's going to make that move work.
Crafton started 20th, so all 3 of those drivers right there, Crafton, Enfinger, and Majeski, all moving their way from deep in the field toward the front, up inside the top 10. Majeski's gone around Eckes now, and Majeski into that 5th position.
That's what this track offers up. As you can see, John Hunter Nemechek back to pit road with more issues. It offers up a variety of lines and a way to pass your way up toward the front if you're mired in the back, and that's what these drivers have been able to do.
You see the right rear tires down on Nemechek's truck right there. Probably some more tire rub. Guys, the fastest lap in practice yesterday, obviously the trucks didn't qualify, was about a 32.50. They're running 4 seconds a lap slower than what they ran in practice.
And tell me, Phil, what does that do for the driver? Throws off his timing. How do you deal with that much difference? You know the setup is going to be different.
Yeah, you get easier into the throttle, into the corner, then pick up the throttle easier, and it's really an adjustment for these drivers to make. 4 seconds off the pace they had yesterday in practice.
Wow.
The late laps here in stage 1, 21 of 30 down. Tough break for John Hunter Nemechek with problems early, but no problems for Ben Rhodes. He's still out front at Miami. Back at Homestead-Miami Speedway, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, Baptist Health 200. Ben Rhodes has led them all so far here in stage 1. And 4 laps remaining here in this first stage. Watch this one, though. Such a close call for Rhodes and Brett Holmes.
This is a slide job gone wrong. I mean, it could have gone worse wrong, but that was not executed well, and that's how difficult it is even to get through lap traffic, Phil, here at Miami.
How about Rhodes? I mean, we talked about it a little bit in the open. His performance has been inconsistent, uneven, if you will, during the playoffs, and he looks like a world beater here so far today.
We started out on fire. The first 6 races of the year, he had all top 5 out of 6 top 5 finishes, including that win on the dirt at Bristol. And then it just went south for him. He's got a great, did such a great job at Talladega. Michael, you and I were talking about it during the commercial break. A race that's obviously hard to navigate with all the carnage you see there, and had a great second place finish. And that's why he's in this position of being so close to try making it to Phoenix.
You hit on it a minute ago, Phil. These times are just making me shake my head. It's almost a little over 4 seconds now that they're off the pace. I mean, these engines are probably straining under the hood to try to get some power to the back tires. These guys slip and slide.
How about Grant Enfinger up to the 5th spot right now? So he can get by the 18 of Chandler Smith.
Pits closed, 2 to go here in stage 1.
I've been pretty impressed with Eckes as well. He's been able just to hold it down lower than most everybody, and when you have options like that, as the other trucks begin to slip and slide, it obviously gives you a chance to move around this racetrack and make some moves.
Final lap here in stage 1. Top 7 drivers, all playoff drivers. Remember, if you're just joining us, John Hunter Nemechek issues early, got into the wall, ended up cutting a tire, back into the wall again hard, and he's a couple of laps, 3 laps in fact, off the pace now. So Nemechek's hopes by the wayside, but Ben Rhodes continues to lead them all here in stage 1. Zane Smith makes it close, but it's the 9th stage win of the season for Ben Rhodes, and those all-important points that come along with it, 10 stage points.
Maybe making a statement, too, for Ben Rhodes, like, you guys have forgot about me. I'm still here. Remember, I'm the defending champion.
He is indeed on a 15-race winless streak. Maybe he ends that today.
Relive.
The biggest sporting event on the planet returns to Fox Sports, and for the first time ever, it's taking over the holiday season. The FIFA World Cup begins November 20th on Fox and FS1. Stage 1 in the books, as you see. Speaking of the World Cup, the USA schedule begins November 21st. Looking forward to that. And the way the rest of this race unfolds, it has been a good one today. Back in the pack, it hasn't been a lot of competition at the front. Ben Rhodes led them all in stage 1. Tough luck for John Hunter Nemechek. He's 3 laps down. They're on pit road for the first time, and we're going to begin with Regan.
Vince Stewart Friesen's had a strong start to the day in 3rd place. That truck right now just a little bit too loose in and off of the corners, causing a tight middle condition. The 99 of Ben Rhodes, that truck has been great so far. He reported to the team on lap 15 that it was going just a little bit free. Nothing worse since that moment on. In the 38 of Zane Smith, that truck turns well. He needs a little bit of rear grip on the exit of the corners. Josh?
Well, the 23 of Grant Enfinger had speed in practice, has speed in the race, up from 23rd to 5th right now. He said he's just a little bit too tight, maybe a 1 or a 2, so they're going to make an air pressure adjustment. Otherwise, Grant is happy with that truck.
Seen some incredible tire fall off during that first stage, and managing those tires is going to be key throughout the course of this race today. Remember, we normally race at Homestead at night. And racing in the daytime makes a big difference. The sun on that track, its temperatures in the low to mid 80s.
Yeah, I think it's been 17 years since we raced during the day here.
It's a beautiful day today at Homestead-Miami Speedway, especially good for Ben Rhodes.
Stage 1 is complete here from Homestead-Miami Speedway. Don't forget, there are 3 championship 4 spots on the line here following this race today. One of the drivers hoping to lock in one of those spots, sitting in probably the best position of anyone besides the driver locked in, Ty Majeski, is Chandler Smith, 30 points above the cut line. Chandler is making his very first start here today at Homestead, and this is what he told me he has to predict about this racetrack.
Yeah, I've never been here. From everything that I've kind of done my research on and homework on, it seems like in Atlanta, but there's obviously different characteristics with it that are different than old Atlanta. But the characteristics that are very similar that stick out to me is it's wore out, it's multi-lane. You can run the bottom, you can run the top. Middle's kind of like a no man's land, somewhat, sort of, kind of. So I like that aspect of it a lot. I really like, short track races that I race around all across the country is wore out racetracks. So I feel like this would be, something that I would enjoy.
Chandler Smith in that number 18 will restart 12th here to start stage 2.
Last night, the Phillies hung on to go up 2-1 in the NLCS. Tonight, they'll look to extend that lead. Manny Machado and the Padres will try to even it up. It's Game 4. The National League Championship Series starts tonight, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, only on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Good work on pit road by the 38 crew of Zane Smith. Got him the lead. Enfinger came off second. Ben Rhodes third.
A couple bumps in the road on pit road. Matt Crafton got a penalty for guys over the wall too soon, and Parker Kligerman was speeding. So they'll go to the rear, and we'll re-rack this thing and see how it turns out.
Crafton's had some good speed in this one as well. That's something they haven't had much of the season, but we saw him drive from 20th well up inside the top 10.
But Vince, how impressive is that 23 truck of Grant Enfinger?
Yeah.
Started 23rd, and obviously his guys are pumped up on pit road. They got him out second here.
And Enfinger came into this race in a must-win situation if he's to advance to that championship 4 in a couple of weeks at Phoenix. And he certainly looks like he's more than capable. He'll start on the inside of the front row, and Zane Smith is on the outside. Stage 2 underway.
Zane was really coming there at the end of that stage, was able to close right in on Rhodes. As you see, Ben goes to work up top.
Oh, 3 wide, Rhodes to the top for the lead.
That was impressive.
Wow.
What a nice move by Ben Rhodes.
Closes the door on Zane Smith, and Rhodes, who led them all in stage 1, is back out front after starting 3rd here in stage 2.
Maybe even more impressive is that 17 truck right there, Ryan Priest. Remember, started last for unapproved adjustments, now running up in the top 5.
And did you see that corner for Grant Enfinger? He was able to go to the bottom and clear Zane Smith, running that tight line on the low side. That's very, very difficult to do.
Rhodes and Enfinger running 1-2. Zane Smith 3rd. Majeski and Priest filling out the top 5. John Hunter Nemechek, problems early in this race. He's a couple of laps down, got into the wall, cut a tire.
Battle for the lead.
Enfinger and Rhodes side by side.
This is going to open up an opportunity for Zane Smith to go somewhere. These 2 trucks running side by side won't have the speed they would single file. Zane's trying to take advantage of that.
It almost looks like down in 3 and 4, the bottom works a little bit better than it does down here in 1 and 2.
Rhodes able to hold off Enfinger, and that opened the door for Zane Smith to get Enfinger, and here comes Majeski and Ryan Priest. Everybody getting in on the act. Majeski had to check up just a bit. Priest gets that position.
Really interesting too, Vince, after those pit stops, who made the right adjustments? I mean, you can let air pressure out, you can change your wedge, your track bar. Who did the right things that will enable them to have a truck that's good all the way through this stage? That's the difficult part. You can fix a truck on the short run, but how do you fix a truck that falls off 4 seconds? You really got to lean on your experience to tell your crew chief what you're feeling so you can get those adjustments.
Stuart Friesen in the 52, that blue truck. On the outside of him is the 51 of Corey Heim. They are 7th and 8th.
Stewart, a little bit loose there off turn 4, as we've seen all day long.
Back to the front, Rhodes and Zane Smith for the lead. Rhodes on the top, Zane Smith down on the bottom. That's Enfinger running the wall.
I love
right
the
behind
options.
Rhodes.
Vince, I love the options this place gives you. You can run the top, you can run the bottom, and you can also run through the middle if you need to.
Good battle back here just outside the top 5 with Friesen and Heim. Chandler Smith there in the 18 down on the bottom.
Remember, this is
the 9th.
Relatively short stage too, Vince. Obviously, it's 30 laps, but after the pit stops and the caution flag, probably only about 25 green flag laps in this stage.
We are at lap 12 of 30 here in this second stage as Zane Smith continues to challenge Ben Rhodes for the lead.
Here comes a big dive down into turn 3.
Zane Smith was the regular season champion this year. Of course, Ben Rhodes, the defending series champion, after getting it done last year at Phoenix. And Zane Smith back to the front. And here comes Rhodes trying to cross over on the bottom.
Bit of a wiggle there by Ben Rhodes as he entered the corner.
If I were...
We'll try running above the seam. We'll try running above that seam next time by, see if that helps us.
I'd be running from that 17 truck of Ryan Priest is what I'd be running from. The leaders mixing it up there, and Priest is able to gain up to 3rd spot, but here comes Enfinger down on the bottom again.
So we talk about the seams. There's a lot of grip right up against the wall. Now these guys, like Ben Rhodes right there, was running the top, but there's actually another half a truck width up above him, and a lot of the drivers talk about more grip up there. The closer you get to the wall, the more grip there is.
Isn't that ironic?
Yeah. You guys mentioned what's going on with these trucks and where they're running on the racetrack. The 99 truck of Ben Rhodes, a lot of info, as we just heard from his race team, about where to put that truck, not only for where's best for him, but to take the air away from the trucks behind him. Right now, that truck was so good the first run of the race, extremely tight in the middle of the corner for Ben Rhodes right now.
Yeah, see him drifting up after he cut it down to the middle.
Well, you remember, Vince, at the end of that first stage, Zane Smith heated him up. He got there. He had a faster long-run truck, and now, just halfway through this stage, Zane's already out front. Can he just drive away from these guys?
Majeski on the bottom, trying to get up and underneath the 17 of Preece. Plenty of action in stage 2 at Homestead. Zane Smith out front.
Action continues here from Homestead. The way these drivers are battling up front, you'd think they've been racing here for years, but the Truck Series hasn't been here at Homestead in 2 years now, and the experience in the field is very slim. In fact, of the 25 trucks races that have run here at this track, Matt Crafton by far has the most starts of anyone. The 3-time series champion has 20 starts here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. The next driver, when it comes to experience level, only 5 starts. Infinger, Friesen, and Ben Rhodes all have 5 starts at this track. So when you compare the amount of experience here, it's very light, but the way these drivers are learning and adapting to this track here today is incredibly impressive. 14 laps to go in stage 2.
Back at Homestead-Miami Speedway, Camping World Truck Series playoff race presented by Blue Emu. Zane Smith out front. He has led for 11 laps. He and Ben Rhodes, the only 2 leaders today. Rhodes led them all in stage 1. Smith has been out front for the most part here in stage 2. Has wrestled the lead away from Rhodes a couple of times when challenged, but Smith looking good by nearly a second over Ty Majeski.
Yeah, Ty was the fastest truck on the racetrack that last lap. Almost 0.2 of a second faster than Zane. Obviously, Zane had to work around the lap truck of Spencer Boyd.
Yeah, and you saw him also wiggling sideways up off turn 4 that last lap, Phil. This time he goes to the top. I don't think you like the way that truck felt on the bottom, and that's what a championship race car driver does. They look around. They figure out where the grip is and how their truck will handle better if they take a differing line.
38 certainly looks like it's rolling smoothly now out front, that's for sure. How about it, Regan?
Well, Vince, it is rolling smoothly for him right now. Keep in mind, though, Zane Smith, very limited experience here at Homestead. Only 1 previous start, fell out early in that race. He said, I'd have to learn a little bit early on, and he also used this week to learn in the simulator, as many of these drivers did. The difference, Zane Smith called on a couple friends. He called on Noah Gregson for some advice for this weekend. He also had Chase Briscoe, a fellow Ford driver who has had success in the trucks here at Homestead-Miami Speedway, hop in his truck on the simulator to validate what he was saying and what he thought. a good guy to get some help from, Josh.
Well, the 98 of Christian Eckes was saying he was just really tight in that first stage. So at the end of the stage, they came in and made those adjustments. He said the truck is much better now. And we know where Christian Eckes is. He's in a position where he's 10 below the cut line right now. They talked about after stage 1, they want to reevaluate where they were, decide if they needed to go points racing or go for the win. So right now, keep an eye on what Eckes does in these next 2 stages.
Well, with the amount of tire fall off you have, it makes the balance of the truck critical.
Hello.
Hello there. Get a hold of it.
Man.
I mean, the truck handling is going to be bad enough when the tires fall off, right? But I mean, if the balance of the truck isn't good, then you really got a problem.
And plus, look how aggressive they are. They can't work it out. Inside, outside, back and forth, all over this racetrack.
And oh, by the way, they're teammates.
So Rhodes in the 99, that orange truck with Eckes right behind him. They both can point their way in, but that yellow truck behind the two of them, the 23 of Grant Enfinger, he's got to win. And right now, Enfinger's riding 6th.
He's liking what he's seeing, too, with those trucks racing side by side. He's able to gain ground on them. Stuart Friesen the same.
And with 7 to go here in stage 2 for Enfinger, he doesn't have to be in the lead right now. He's just got to keep himself at the front of the field, right? I mean, to have a shot in that 3rd and final stage.
He told us that when we interviewed him before the race. He said, I don't have to win the first stage. I just need to have track position. He has accomplished just that. He's in a great spot right now, Josh. What's he saying on the radio?
Yeah, well, Grant Enfinger during that last stop was talking over the radio with crew chief Jeff Hensley, and they said they thought about making a Packer change, but they weren't going to do it unless they needed to. Well, over the radio just now, they said next time we come in, we're making that Packer change to see if we can get you back up towards the front.
That's a little risky, taking extra time on pit road after gaining that track position. I don't know. Jeff Hensley's a smart man. They're going to make the right decision, but if it is the right decision, it's got a little bit of risk tied to it.
Yeah, and what a Packer is, it's a little washer that goes in the shock, and you can take one out because they have a little tether tied to it. You can take one out a lot quicker than you can put one in. That affects how low the truck will go.
They must feel like they don't have a truck capable of winning, and if you don't make that big swing, I mean, that's the way you got to be viewing it, right? I mean, if you're going to take a swing that big.
Absolutely. When you want to do it now under caution, there's no guarantee that our final pit stop will be under caution. It could be under green, and it's so hard to take the extra time to do adjustments like that.
5 to go, 4 now to go in this 2nd stage. How about the 18 of Chandler Smith? He's running 10th.
Oh man, let's focus here. We're driving to the best of my ability without wrecking.
Yeah, I think they all are.
Yeah, these guys have their hands full now. And when you slow down 4 seconds, you know that these things are lacking some grip.
Rhodes,
look at
Friesen, and Eckes 4th, 5th, and 6th. And all
Friesen.
3 of them were running different lines.
Friesen was dead sideways in the middle of the corner, and look, it's cost him a little bit of momentum off. Here comes Grant Enfinger along with Eckes after that 52 truck.
These positions are really important here. Stuart Friesen would dearly love to get by the 99 of Rhodes and grab another point, another stage point with only 3 to go. Just so gingerly on the throttle. You can hear him playing with that throttle, just trying to feed it as much as he can.
Gingerly on the throttle,
yes,
and very aggressively on the steering wheel. Watch him fight this thing in the corner. He dives to the bottom. If anybody knows how to pull off the slide job, it's Stuart Friesen, and he's going to do it.
Into 4th.
That was a nice move.
That was a pretty relaxed exit, too. You saw him off turn 4. He was all over the wheel.
Oh, almost thought maybe Ben had some sort of an issue getting in the corner because Stuart drove in the corner so much harder.
Now he's going to just squeeze that throttle like you said, Phil. Watch those hands.
Yeah. You don't want to turn back to the right, which he's doing some of that.
Final lap here in stage 2.
That move on Ben Rhodes could have gotten Stuart Friesen. We'll have to see it. Might have gotten him to Phoenix to race for a championship. Keep that in mind.
Zane Smith, the regular season champ, came into this race 18 points to the good, feeling positive about an opportunity to race for a championship in a couple of weeks in Phoenix. Remember, he's been the championship runner-up the last 2 years, looking to take that next step forward this year, and he's going to win stage 2 here at Homestead. And pretty sporty so far, with Majeski, Priest, Friesen, and Rhodes rounding out the top 5. A lot of people felt like he was the one to beat at the beginning of the season. Hard to argue that right now here at Homestead.
Two stages complete here from Homestead-Miami Speedway, and 2 playoff drivers finishing 1-2 there. That's John Hunter Nemechek, that's Zane Smith and Ty Majeski. Now, I caught up with both of those drivers yesterday, but Ty specifically had an interesting point to make about his run today. He's the only driver that's locked into the championship 4, so he told me that really his only goal today is to either get a win or get more ThorSport drivers in the championship 4 with him. At this point in the playoffs, stage points don't matter. He's competing for a championship either way, and first year of eligibility at that as well. So proud to represent ThorSport as one of the 4 drivers, but today only 2 goals on the mind: either get the win or get some of his teammates in that championship 4 with him.
Tomorrow on Fox, an NFL doubleheader starts with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers taking on the Commanders, or you might get some other regional action. Then an America's Game of the Week, one of the biggest matchups of the year, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs taking on Garoppolo and the 49ers. Check for your games in your area, only on Fox and the Fox Sports app. And through 2 stages today, you see the drivers that have earned the most stage points, and Zane Smith with 19, big for Ben Rhodes, who has come into this race today, came into this race today on the bubble and has had a successful day. Regan on pit road.
Vincent 52 of Stuart Friesen scrambling every point that he can. That truck right now just a little bit loose off of turn 4. Very good in 1 and 2. The 66 of Ty Majeski, of course, already locked into the championship round in Phoenix. That truck is very good as well through turns 1 and 2. He needs more rear grip on the exit of both corners. And the 38 of Zane Smith right now, that truck needs a little bit of front turn. Not perfectly happy with it quite yet. Josh?
The crew chief of the 98, Jerriot Prince, came over the radio and told Christian Eckes, right now, because of the points, we have to go out and go for the race win. And Christian came back over and said, good, I don't want a points race, I want to go for the win.
Great work by the teams on pit road, trying to get their drivers in position, and Ryan Priest and that Gilliland Racing crew jumping to the front. Oh, what a beautiful scene. South Florida. coming back for the final stage.
Pit stops complete here, and we're moments away from getting stage 3 underway. But one of the most exciting elements of watching racing here at Homestead, but also one of the biggest challenges of driving here at Homestead, is running the fence. We're seeing drivers actively do that today, especially as the track heats up and that high line opens up. But the margin of error for running the high line but not hitting the wall is very slim. Now we have 3 races here this weekend, all 3 different types of cars. I caught up with John Hunter Nemechek yesterday. He was able to give me some insight as to how each of these cars will handle making a little contact with the wall.
Yeah, so an Xfinity car is a fiberglass body, flange fit body. You can hit the fence and it bounces right back. We have steel bodies on our NASCAR King Road Truck Series Toyota Tundras, and if you hit the fence, that's going to crinkle and lay on a tire and most likely cut it down. So the give aspect of the body isn't quite there with the truck compared to the Xfinity car. And then the Cup car this weekend, you have the flange fit body that'll bounce back, but when you hit the wall with the independent suspension and the toe links that we have, it'll normally bend or break a toe link. So I can't hit the wall with it either. So Xfinity car, you can lay it on it and scrub it and still bounce off and still have a really good day.
That insight coming from John Hunter Nemechek, who has experience in all 3 levels of NASCAR National Series racing. Now, as we get ready to start stage 3, expect to see drivers making aggressive moves up there on the high line. There's 3 championship spots on the line here today.
The playoff opener for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. On the final lap, Grant Enfinger wins at IRP. Wow. This is Richmond Raceway. It was pure domination. Chandler Smith wins at Richmond.
Hell yeah, boys!
Racing in the elimination race. John Hunter Nemechek wins at Kansas. Smooth road to the finish and the checkered flag tonight at Bristol. Ty Majeski wins in the Truck Series for the first time. White flag is out, 1 to go. The 25 of Matt DiBenedetto, the winner at Talladega, his first career win. Well, that's how we've gotten to this point in the playoffs with the various winners throughout the postseason, and you look at where we sit now in regards to what drivers have to get accomplished here in this final stage. And Enfinger's still in a position where he's got to win the race to advance to the championship 4. And don't forget, John Hunter Nemechek had a problem early, so he's out of the mix, a couple of laps down.
I talked about how important those passes were for Stuart Friesen coming to the checker. Look at that. He ended that stage. He's 1 point to the good as they run right now. How will this thing unfold?
Ben Rhodes restarting all the way back in the 15th position.
They had an 18-second pit stop.
Final stage underway at Homestead. Majeski on the inside, Preece on the outside, and 4 wide behind him as Enfinger's trying to poke his nose in down underneath Majeski, and Ty shut the door. Enfinger slips into that 4th position, but he's being challenged. It's just chaotic on the restarts.
And it's only going to get worse as these laps wind down, Vince. These guys are going to get more and more aggressive.
Yeah, 67 laps to go. Remember, these guys have 1 more set of tires in the pits. Where do you put them on? If you go 30 laps under green, do you stop under green and want to get those new tires on? Or do you try to hold off for a caution flag?
I know these crew chiefs have been, and engineers have been burning up the computers trying to simulate exactly what is the best situation for them to come to the pit road and get those tires. Somebody's got to take a chance is basically what it's going to amount to.
Well, it's an easy decision if you think there's this or no, there's only going to be one caution in that third and final stage. But in 15 of our 21 races this season, we've had at least 3 cautions in the final stage. If you put those tires on early and we get another caution and somebody else comes and puts them on a little bit later,
that's the chance I'm talking about taking. You know, if you're Grant Enfinger, maybe you just say our best chance to win this race is to do completely opposite of what our competition does. We'll see how it plays out, like I said.
The last 2 years, they've made green flag pit stops in the final stage.
On board with Friesen in that 7th spot. That's Enfinger just ahead of him. Enfinger trying to put a pass on Corey Heim and does it at the front. Good battle. Majeski in the 66. Zane Smith the 38. Majeski, of course, got his first career win at Bristol. He's the only driver that knows he'll race for a championship at Phoenix in a couple of weeks.
What a smart race that Zane Smith has driven, though. 19 of the 20 possible stage points. He ran right to the rear bumper of Ben Rhodes at that first stage and then won that second stage. Doing everything he needs to do right now.
And Christian Eckes just passes Ryan Preece for the 3rd spot. Preece in that 17, a winner earlier this season in Nashville, going to cross over and go right back at Eckes. And remember that 17 still in the mix from an owner's point position in the owner's championship. Just because the 4 drivers that race for the championship don't necessarily mean those are the 4 organizations that are running for the owner's title in Phoenix in a couple of weeks. So that's 17 still in the mix in that regard.
As is that 51 too for Corey Heim. We haven't talked a whole lot about Corey Heim this entire race, and there he is right now, moved up into the top 5 as he passed the 23 of Enfinger.
How'd you like to have his future, huh? Corey Heim, he's
right.
Yeah, had a couple of wins and 14 starts this season.
I think we said at the beginning of this year, or last year at Darlington, we said this kid's special. You know, he's going to be able to not only win truck races, but went out was bold enough to say that he will win cup races one day. Every now and then these guys come to the truck series and it's just obvious from the start they've got what it takes, and Corey's one of those kids.
We haven't heard what's going to happen with Corey Heim yet next year. Obviously we know as a big block put on by Eckes there on Preece. We know that Chandler Smith is moving to the Xfinity Series next year with Colleague Racing.
Let me just tell you about those blocks, Vince. We've seen a lot of them. People will accept them for a while. At some point, the block is going to get turned around. The blocker is going to get turned around by the blockee. Watch for that.
Heim diving to the bottom on Eckes. Now, Eckes put that block on Preece and may have lost just enough momentum to allow Heim to get a good run on him, and now they're side by side for position.
Well, that
Eckes holds him off.
That 51 truck is really good right now. Again, he was just kind of unnoticed doing the first 2 stages. Obviously, great pit work by Marty Lindley's guys. Get him out in a decent position on this restart, and now he's headed to the front.
Heim, of course, part of that Kyle Busch Motorsports group. Chandler Smith in good position to advance to Phoenix for an opportunity to run at for a championship. And remember, Chandler Smith won the Phoenix race a year ago. And Rhodes, of course, won the championship, but Chandler Smith won that race. And have to feel pretty good about it if he could go to Phoenix in a couple of weeks with a shot at the title. Ty Majeski leads Zane Smith at the front in Homestead. Oh, it's so nice in South Florida. And what a beautiful day it is today as well, with temperatures in the 80s. A great place for a terrific NASCAR weekend. And Ty Majeski likes the looks of it, that's for sure, especially out his front windshield where he sees no competitors. He is the leader. And Grant Infinger, who is in a must-win situation, as we understand, has just gotten into the wall.
We got a tire.
Yeah, right front tire's down.
We're going to come this time.
Oh, heartbreaking for Infinger, damaging his championship hopes. We've already seen one of the championship contenders go by the way of the wall, and that was John Hunter Nemechek early in the race. And now Infinger on pit road. He was running 6th.
Trying to track down the 17 of Ryan Preece.
Just
Crosses that line.
Yeah, just barely scraped it, and it was enough to cut down his right front. That is so hard to take as a competitor, that you just stepped over the line and cost your chance for a championship.
Yeah, and as you guys see, the 23 of Grant Infinger on pit road now, scraped the wall. That tire went down, so a tough break for the 23. We know they're in a situation where it's a must-win if they want to make the championship four. So they've got their work cut out for them in these final laps.
That's interesting, Phil. There was hardly any damage to the truck. I guess it just bent that front. And that's what I was going to bring up. The caution flag doesn't come out. And he doesn't have further damage as a result of scraping the wall. This could be a big play for this team. He's put on his final set of tires, but now he's just going to run it out.
I think there's too many laps to go, Michael. I think he had to put them on too early because of that wall contact. Obviously, we're going to watch him. That truck is going to be really fast. But with 52 laps still to go, I think it was too early. I think he's out of contention.
Well, if the caution doesn't come out, it's going to make it fun for him for a while. He's going to drive through this field, as you pointed out, on those fresh tires.
Feels like Superman right now.
Yeah, there's nothing any better than having better tires than anyone else at a place like this, or Darlington, Atlanta, the old Atlanta.
What if the caution doesn't come out? Think about that. He's going to have this many laps on his tires prior to everyone else pitting, gaining time against them all.
Yeah, I think and I talked to some of the crew chiefs this morning, and they thought they would probably split this final stage in half. Obviously, Grant came in early because of that damage, so he's going to be more on the early side of pitting than some of these other guys are going to wait probably till 35 or so laps, 35, maybe even 40.
I wonder what a big difference it is, too, by getting into the wall in a truck compared to these cup cars nowadays. I mean, you get in the wall, hardly does any damage. You get into the truck and into the wall with the truck, and immediately it seems like you start seeing the result of it.
It's just the metal bodywork that are on these trucks, where the Xfinity Series as well as the Cup Series has that composite bodywork that has memory. Obviously, you hit something with these metal bodies and it's going to bend in and has no memory.
Does that happen to me? Is that why I don't remember stuff?
Yeah.
I kept hitting
yes,
things?
no memory. Yes. You hit things, right?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
But the thing that's interesting too is they put that metal right on the tire, because that helps, the aerodynamics. They got to get all the aerodynamics they can, and so as soon as you bump the wall, it just shoves it right into the tire.
Check out the pylon there on the left-hand side of the screen, the bottom portion, giving you that activity right around that cut line there with Rhodes and Friesen. It doesn't get any closer than that, folks. And we put Rhodes on top because he has the tiebreaker over Friesen should it end like this.
Yeah, the tiebreaker is the best finish in this.
Now we got tiebreaker
In this round.
Nice and smooth right here. See if we can get a long run going here and be able to pick some of these guys off.
He doesn't have the tiebreaker anymore because Stuart Friesen just passed the 98 of Eckes, so that's going to give him one more point. Tiebreaker doesn't matter if you're a point behind.
Changes just like that.
And just remember that hard charge Stuart Friesen made at the end of stage 2 to grab a couple positions late. Every spot matters.
I just really liked the way Stuart Friesen's truck looked in practice yesterday. I kept watching and watching. We had onboard cameras while we were watching it, and his truck looked good. He ran the top of the racetrack, was comfortable up on the top of the racetrack, and he's showing it today.
Ty Majeski continues to lead. We're going to take a break. You won't miss a thing. Going to keep it side by side from Homestead. The only driver that knows he's going to race for a championship at Phoenix in a couple of weeks is Ty Majeski, and right now Majeski is out front here at Homestead with 44 to go as we look at our Blue Emu race summary.
4 leaders, some good lead changes up front, but man, so much action back in the pack. You see Ben Rhodes grab that first stage win, and then he had a bit of a struggle on his last pit stop, but he's back up in the top 10 as you watch Eckes work to the bottom of Corey Heim.
Remember, just a few laps ago, Vince, we were talking about Stuart Friesen and Ben Rhodes being tied for that transfer spot. Now Stuart Friesen's driven his way up to the 3rd spot now, being shown 2 points ahead of Ben Rhodes.
And Phil, you talked about splitting the stage. We're creeping in on that time of the race. 7 or 8 laps would be the split. We'll see when these teams, when these crew chiefs elect to bring their drivers onto pit road. And remember, this is the money stop. We can't mess up. We can't speed. We can't have an issue on the stop itself. Really important.
And you really, I don't think you can sit around waiting for a caution flag, because you're going to lose so much time on the racetrack when somebody puts fresh tires on. They're going to be 3 seconds faster than you for a few laps.
Eckes right now shown 7 points below the line, but certainly he's within striking distance, Josh.
Yeah, Christian Eckes has been so focused to the point where he's been quiet on the radio, and his crew chief came over and said, I need to hear from you. What's going on? You've been very quiet. Well, he said, I'm just a little free on throttle. Otherwise, we're good. And then they gave him the update. They told him you're 7 points out right now. Told him where Rhodes was. So they're keeping an eye on things for Christian Eckes, who is all business right now.
Getting so close to those final pit stops, we believe. If you want to cut that last stage in half, you're zeroing in on them.
We're hearing some of the teams are talking about pitting within about 5 laps.
Eckes is 4th, and there's Corey Heim in that black 51 running 5th. Matt Crafton in 6th. Crafton having a good run in that neon yellow truck coming up.
Had to overcome a
here.
pit road penalty,
Yep.
Vince, and he's been able to do that and get back inside the top, racing for a spot in the top 5 here in a lap or 2. Really strong run for Matt.
And when we're talking about green flag pit stops, these drivers don't make that many green flag pit stops here in the Truck Series. Obviously, the stages are such that they could probably run the first 2 stages. Ryan Preece is going to be the first guy on pit road.
Preece pitting from just outside the top 5. Winner earlier this season at Nashville. Regan.
Vince, Ryan Preece pitting just a little bit earlier than most right here. That truck has just been very sensitive for him today, struggling to be able to hit the same line on entry in particular. 4 tires, you see it there.
How about the season that Ryan Preece has had? I mean, it has just been amazing. 6 top 5s in 9 starts, including that win at Nashville. His worst finish has been 11th. 4 straight top 4. His last 4 races, hasn't started them all, but his last 4 starts, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Ben Rhodes, stage 1 winner on pit road in that 99.
Vince, they're just struggling to find the balance with this truck right now. They've helped the rears and getting more grip with those, but now they can't help the front and getting the grip with the front of that truck. They've been bouncing all around the balance.
Here comes Stuart Friesen to pit road. A little debris on the front of his truck. See him slide to a stop there.
Regan.
Stuart Friesen being told race the tires as this run has gone on and protect your truck right now. You see 4 tires for Stuart Friesen. A little bit of trouble on that right front as well.
Regan, the left front didn't go very well either, and you can see that little bit of debris. I saw one of the crew members motioning to the crew chief about that debris. Stuart would have reported if the temperatures were too high, but that's a bit of a concern.
Chandler Smith getting a chassis adjustment.
Yeah, guys, and you see the 18 of Chandler Smith in the pit right now, and before he's been complaining about being just a little bit too tight.
See, Eckes coming down pit road now. Josh?
Yeah, the 98 of Christian Eckes coming in to get those tires. His crew chief asked him how much longer could he go with those tires. He said, I'm struggling really bad right now. They said, come in and pit, get fuel, get those tires.
I think that's pretty funny, Vince. They're all struggling mightily when these tires get worn. How do you explain it to your team how bad it is? We got to have tires.
Zane Smith.
Zane Smith, he's been stalking the leader of Ty Majeski, but right now that truck is too tight and then breaks loose because he has to put steering to the car or to the truck in the center of the corner. They're going to adjust for that.
Majeski from the lead on pit road in that 66.
Ty Majeski, as you mentioned, pitting from the lead. That race truck has been very good all day long. The word from the team is to focus forward. They're not wanting him to look behind him at all right now. Very good truck for what is an experimental setup today, actually, for that 66, who's already locked into Phoenix.
I'd say the experiment has worked.
I think so too.
It's been a positive result on the experiment.
You know, Joe Shear isn't afraid to step outside the box.
Like a mad scientist, isn't he?
Absolutely.
I believe if I wasn't experimenting, I'd tell people I was, just so they wouldn't know what to think of me when I got to Phoenix in a couple
failed
weeks.
Or what? Yeah. That was an experiment. Yeah. .35 to go here at Homestead. Zane Smith and Ty Majeski, I think, have been the best two, even though Rhodes has led the most laps at 37. Majeski's led 34. Zane Smith's led 26. I think what we've seen from the 38 and the 66 today have been most impressive.
Yeah, Zane was able to gain a little bit of ground on Majeski during that pit stop exchange.
I tried to make it a positive spin for Grant Enfinger, Phil, and he's in the top 5. So we're stabilized right now, but we're fixing to start losing a lot of ground, I'm afraid. Those tires are going to be worn out on that 23 truck. But as of now, he's been able to find a spot inside the top 10 after his issues.
Yeah, he's about 16, 17 points more laps on his tires than most of his competitors.
Yeah, Enfinger got into the wall. If you missed it, had cut a tire, had to come to pit road with about 52 to go, and put that last set on. So he was gangbusters there for a while, but his tires are worn out now that everybody else has put fresh ones on. So you'll start seeing the result of that.
Yeah, this isn't going to end well for Grant because of all that wear, but for now he's hanging in there.
It's going to be a battle between these two, I think, all the way to the end. How's it going to play out between Majeski and Zane?
Stage 3 is quickly coming to a close here from Homestead-Miami Speedway. So before this race finishes, let's check in with our international driver, 19-year-old Max Gutierrez from Mexico City, Mexico. I caught up with Max before the race. If you heard that interview, you heard him made a joke about wanting some sponsorship. A joke, but not. I talked to Max. He said, I've run 4 Xfinity races this year, and I'm hoping to make one more start at Phoenix. All I need to do is get some funding. Max has been working so hard this season on building his racing resume. With these 4 Xfinity starts, he added a few ARCA starts as well. But on top of building that racing resume, when I caught up with Max yesterday, I had to pull him away from his homework. At just 19 years old, Max is still a full-time student balancing racing and schoolwork as well. So he joked with me that as much as he wants to race, he's got to get his homework done before he can take to the track. So Max Gutierrez currently in the 23rd position, potentially his last start of the season.
Ty Majeski continues to lead at Homestead-Miami Speedway in the penultimate race of the season, determining our championship 4 today here at Homestead-Miami. And right now, Majeski, the only one that we know is going to race for the championship, the only one for sure that we know. He earned that right with the win at Bristol a few weeks back, and he's trying to put the exclamation point on it with another win here today.
But these other guys, Vince, we can't lock them in. There's every single truck is still running on the racetrack. All 36 trucks are still running. So if one of our playoff contenders has trouble now,
Majeski in some traffic. I want to make sure somebody else doesn't screw up and catch Majeski in it.
I gotta tell you, I just can't imagine how these guys are managing slipping and sliding these tires and not making any more mistakes than we've seen. Majeski had a sideways Caden Honeycutt right in his windshield and was able to maneuver around him. A lot going on out there on that racetrack.
You might have caught a glimpse of the 4 of John Hunter Nemechek when Majeski went by. Nemechek, problems early. He's 3 laps down. He's out of the mix. As you look at Rich Lucius there, the crew chief for Ben Rhodes in that 99. John Leonard, the crew chief for Stuart Friesen in the 52. Right now, 1 point separates those two from moving on to the championship 4.
I'll tell you, if that 18 of Chandler Smith gets by Ben Rhodes, obviously that's going to take a point away from Ben Rhodes. They would be tied again. And Stuart Friesen just a few laps ago was 4 seconds behind Ryan Preece. Now he's cut that to 2 seconds. So he needs that spot as well.
Just looking ahead, if by chance Rhodes and Friesen ended up tied, as you see they are right there on the grid, Rhodes would get the tiebreaker, and that's based on the best finish of this round.
You know, we were looking at those crew chiefs, Vince. We see these drivers out there working so hard for grip. What about the brains of those crew chiefs? They got to be fried right now. Just think of all the scenarios, everything that's going to happen, and what their driver can do in order to try to get that 1 point they so desperately need.
The nice thing for those guys, they're done. They can't pit anymore. They don't have any more tires. So now they have to be a cheerleader for Ben Rhodes and Stuart Friesen.
They can just worry and cheer.
A lot.
And that's what they're doing.
You know, you guys talked about, and we have addressed kind of the uneven performance of Rhodes this season, especially in the playoffs, but you guys made a great point earlier when you talked about how Rhodes managed to get that 2nd place finish at Talladega a couple of weeks ago, our most recent race. And if they ended up as a tie today in the points, that 2nd place finish would be what gets Rhodes to that championship 4. So that's why every spot, every race is critical.
And you know, all year long, we've seen Rich Lucius and that 99 team take chances for those stage points. That's the Talladega result that would put Ben Rhodes in that position. But Rich Lucius and that team has done a really nice job of taking chances to get those stage points and put him in this position.
And both of those drivers and teams have done it here. Ben Rhodes, 16 stage points out of 20. Stuart Friesen, 15 stage points out of 20.
And last time by, you talked about the pace of Stuart Friesen. He was the fastest truck on the track. So that last set of tires, that last adjustment, that truck has come alive. Watch him work that thing. Here he's finally heating it all the way up, just barely in the gas.
Almost off the corner before he was able to get full throttle.
And this guy races dirt every weekend. He's used to being sideways. A little bit different at 175 miles an hour, but still he's working it.
Oh, DiBenedetto with a big wiggle right in front of Friesen. Friesen able to maneuver around.
I don't know if it was a thank you or get out of my way.
You just scared me to death. Camping World 20 to go. 20 laps remaining as you watch Ty Majeski continue to lead Zane Smith by nearly 2 seconds. We'll come back for the finish from Homestead.
Just under 20 laps to go here in this race from Homestead-Miami Speedway. 1 point difference at the cut line when it comes to who is going to rack up those 3 championship 4 spots. The battle right now between Ben Rhodes and Stuart Friesen. Both drivers making their 6th career start here at Homestead, and both drivers hoping for their 2nd career championship 4 appearance. But right now, as things stand, if they were to tie, Ben Rhodes would win the tiebreaker because the tiebreaker goes to the best finish in the round. He had a 2nd place finish a few weeks ago at Talladega. Now, like I said, 1 point difference, but everything can change in these final laps. Less than 20 to go here from Homestead.
Camping World Truck Series from Homestead-Miami Speedway. Ty Majeski continues to lead. Stuart Friesen runs 4th, battling Ryan Preece for 3rd.
And he's taking it, Vince. Man, that truck's got some pace.
Ryan Preece pitted about 2 laps before Stuart Friesen. Is there that much difference, Michael, you think?
Well, you also have to factor in who got on and off pit road fastest, and like you said, maybe those 2 laps is making that big of a difference for Preece, but Stewart was so far behind. He's just made great adjustments and had great speed this whole run.
Yeah, he was 4 seconds behind Preece after the pit stops.
And every single position matters because, as you see there on the bottom left, Rhodes and Friesen tied for that 4th and final spot into the championship 4.
Vince, the problem for Friesen now, he's 11.5 seconds behind Zane. So more than likely, unless Zane has some trouble, or certainly Majeski, he's not going to gain any more spots with 14 laps to go on this racetrack.
He needs Rhodes to lose positions.
He needs Rhodes to lose 1 spot.
And look what's right there.
Is that his teammate?
That's his teammate racing him, knowing that 99 truck cannot lose a spot. And it looks like Crafton's got a better truck than Rhodes right now. Look at that run through 3 and 4 Matt got. He's going to be beside his teammate.
Well, that would be a heartbreaker for this team if he got passed by a teammate to get knocked out of the playoffs.
Rich Lucius, the crew chief of the 99 of Rhodes. And gave a little shake of the head there. May have been thinking, man, that's a tough way to lose a key position to your teammate. Maybe not, as Crafton tucks back in.
Crafton was the fastest truck on the racetrack that last lap,
while running down on the inside of Ben Rhodes. Yeah. Like, that wasn't the preferred line he took, but yet still has that kind of speed.
You know, it's amazing. We've seen a couple of trucks get into the wall today, but every truck that started is still running. And that's only happened once, but the Bristol Dirt Race this season, believe it or not. The only race ever that every truck was running at the finish in the series history, and may happen again today.
If he gets to you, we'll just cross him over, just like what we planned before. Just keep crossing them over when they get you off of 2.
Spotter chiming in, letting this driver understand that getting passed isn't the end of the world. You can pass them right back. That's good encouragement from the top.
couple of veterans. Crafton, a 3-time series champ, the only driver in the field who's won here at Homestead, and of course his teammate there in that 99, Rhodes, the defending series champion.
This might be the longest laps of Ben Rhodes' career. Looks like Crafton has faded a bit away from the 99.
That's Christian Eckes, another one of the teammates from Thor Sport right in front of Ben Rhodes. Ben's been able to chase him down.
Christian's still thinking, how can I gain 8 points over these last 10 laps? It's not looking good right now.
Well, and it's not likely to happen. I mean, you'd really need something outrageous to occur for Eckes to be able to gain 8 points, as he currently runs 6th.
You know what the outrageous thing to happen would be? If that caution flew.
Oh gosh, oh gosh.
Reese, look at Ben Rhodes. He's a little bit sideways there. Almost into the outside wall. Going to lose all that momentum.
For a few people, a caution would be a dream, and for some it would be a nightmare, right?
Exactly.
Less than 10 to go. Rhodes in that orange 99 truck running 7th. Friesen is running 3rd, and they are surrounding the cut line. One position makes all the difference between which driver makes it to the championship 4.
Crafton's able to move. Ben Rhodes sideways again.
And Crafton nudges ahead. Can he complete the pass?
That 99 truck is really, really loose. Everyone is, I know, Phil. but this one's more so.
I think Ben Rhodes right now says if he's going to pass me, he's going to have to do it on the bottom. I'm going to stay up here where there's a little bit more grip on the high side. Unless I have to go down below to pass somebody else.
And he just sailed it in there. Can he keep it off the outside wall? Oh, that was
barely
nice.
gathers it up, does Ben Rhodes.
That was nice. He needed to make that move. He needed to get in there hard around those flat trucks, and then he got up to the wall without getting into the wall. Great move.
And even created a little space between he and Crafton.
Oh, he's sideways again.
Gets a bad break, being stuck inside of the 0-2 of Casgrala.
Watch him now. Got to be careful right here.
He is driving the wheels off that thing. He has his hands full.
All Stuart Friesen can do is ride in that 3rd spot. He's 10 seconds behind 2nd place Zane Smith.
Oh, Nemechek in the wall again.
Staying green.
I thought we were in a replay there for a second.
Looked very similar, didn't it?
It did.
His early lap contact.
Spencer Boyd.
See the 12 of Boyd making it to pit road. Majeski continues to lead. Comfortable advantage with 5 to go. He's at a more than a 4-second advantage over Zane Smith. So right now, Majeski's just hoping something bad doesn't either happen to his truck or somebody in front of him. Otherwise, it's going to be a cruise. But the real battle is with the 99 of Ben Rhodes, who's gotten around his teammate Majeski.
No, he's got
his teammate Eckes, and that is a very valuable point.
A huge cushion now, Vince.
1 point.
1 point.
And a tiebreaker, Phil.
And a tiebreaker.
Add that to the pie.
Rhodes crosses. I still don't believe that he's breathing easy.
I tell you, he has been driving his tail off. Just so, and look, just inches off the outside wall with 3 to go. How much momentum he lost after near scrape with disaster here with just a couple 3 laps to go.
We've seen a few flat tires from contact with that outside wall.
This is intense, knowing what all's on the line. I like this line better. Yep. Took it down to the bottom.
Makes Rich Lucius feel a little more comfortable, the crew chief as well, right?
Right.
We talked about how both Ben Rhodes and Stuart Friesen did their job getting stage points. The last time Ben Rhodes scored this many stage points was back when he won on the dirt at Bristol way earlier this year.
Well, it's not going to... Oh, right in front of Rhodes. Oh, unbelievable.
Crafton with the push to the back of Rhodes.
Now Crafton and Eckes are side by side.
Whoa.
Oh my goodness.
And he can't just jerk the wheel to the left, Phil.
He'll spin out.
He don't have any grip, he'll spin out. Just calmly sit there and watch that go down. I wouldn't say calmly, I think his heart was in his throat.
Just less than a mile. Rhodes has got to get it to the finish. Majeski on the right-hand portion of the screen in the final lap of this race here at Homestead. What a challenge.
There's the white flag.
Ty Majeski had never won a race in the series before this season, and now he's won 2 of the last 3.
Isn't that great? He's all celebrating. Ben Rhodes over here just trying to catch his breath and make it through 2 more corners to go to Phoenix to race for a championship.
Rhodes just trying to avoid disaster here in the final quarter mile. Off of 4 and heading toward the finish line. And Ben Rhodes clinches the 4th and final position in the championship 4.
And Rich is now breathing.
Good job, bud. Good job. +1.
I got to tell you, Rich looked pretty cool throughout the whole thing, didn't he?
Yeah.
He just sitting there taking it in. What could he do? I know, but you know, with the emotion, the adrenaline was all pumping.
Zane Smith advancing to the championship 4. Runner-up for the title the past 2 years. Maybe the 3rd time's the charm for Zane and that 38 team. The regular season champ, 3-time winner this season, finishes 2nd here today. And Chandler Smith, who finished 10th today, also clinches a spot in the championship 4. And remember, Chandler Smith won the race at Phoenix last year. And Ben Rhodes fills out the 4 who will run for the title in a couple of weeks in Phoenix. And of course, Ty Majeski had already secured that spot in the championship 4, and then he put the big stamp on it today with another win.
Michael talked about it at the top of the show. All he was here to do was win. Didn't care anything about stage points.
And it worked out.
Yes, it did.
What great momentum Majeski has. Won for the first time to open this final round at Bristol, and came back and did it again to close the round today here at Homestead. And while those 4 drivers celebrate, what heartbreak it is for Stuart Friesen to just miss. Friesen finished 3rd today, but just outside the line to earn a spot in the championship 4.
What a battle he put up, though, Vince. Great job by he and that team. You saw Majeski was heading the wrong way on the track. That's to honor and celebrate Alan Kowicki, Wisconsin native, tipping his hat to Alan.
I can't wait for Phoenix, guys.
He's a short track ace, too. He's going to be ready when we get out west.
Remember, Ben Rhodes won a championship at Phoenix last year.
Lucius and Rhodes championship combo from a year ago.
2 straight weeks of execution for that pair right there. They had to get it done, and they did just that.
Majeski will climb out and celebrate, and Regan Smith is trackside to chat with him.
There's nothing like momentum heading to a championship race. Ty Majeski gets out, salutes the crowd. Ty, you told me at the start of the weekend you wanted to have a good race here to carry that momentum to Phoenix after what was a tough Talladega finish. I think this qualifies as having a good race.
Man, this is awesome. This place is so hard to read in practice. Nobody has any grip, right? So I didn't know really what we had, but man, this 66 Road Ranger Toyota Tundra TRD Pro was bad to the bone today. Man, just thank you to Joe Shear, my crew chief. We've been working great this year together. Duke, Rhonda, Thorson, Allison, they're here today. Thank them for all they do for us, giving me this opportunity. Just so thankful that we're able to make the most of this thing, and we're going to go chase the championship in 2 weeks.
You mentioned Joe Shear and your crew chief and the way that you guys have worked together all year long. Now you've got really the biggest challenge of the year, going to get that championship. What are these next 2 weeks going to look like, and what is that pressure going to be like?
A lot of sim time, a lot of simulator. Just like the rest of the year, we've been working hard on Phoenix ever since we won Bristol. We're bringing that truck back. I feel really good about what we have so far, and keep fine-tuning it. And if it's anything near this, or if it's anywhere near this thing today, it'll be pretty good.
Ty Majeski, your winner at Homestead.
And Ben Rhodes in the 99 will have a chance to defend his championship. But talk to me about those final laps, because you were fighting to keep it off the wall and stay ahead of Stuart Friesen in the standings.
Yeah, no, fighting with my teammates really hard there for the last few laps, and every spot matters. We got in by 1 point from what I understand, so I'm just really, really happy we had a good showing for, this Kubota Toyota Tundra. The folks came out for this race, and they were able to stand on the pit box and see all of it. So really happy they could have an intense race for them, give them some excitement, but man, I wish it was easier. It seemed harder than it should have, and just glad we can defend the title, really. It's been an up and down season, and we aren't the best at mile and a halves, but we made leaps and bounds here. We were able to get the first stage win, be fifth in the second, and when we had that bad pit stop and went back to 15th, I was sweating bullets. Like I knew I had a lot of work to do. I just didn't know it was going to be that tough.
What's it going to take now that you're in to be able to go back-to-back with the championship?
It's going to be tough. I think Ty Majeski's the guy to beat. Him and Joe Shear have it figured out on these smooth tracks. And Phoenix, I would categorize in a place that's in their wheelhouse. So we're going to take some notes from them, maybe. We're going to work on our own program, and we just got to be consistent. We're working on that, and so far so good. I'm thrilled with the last 2 races now. We've turned everything around and made it back in.
Thanks, Ben. Regan?
Well, Josh, it was a valiant effort by Stuart Friesen today. Stuart, you ultimately come up 1 point short. It seemed like you did everything you could do on the racetrack based on the position there at the end. How frustrating is that?
I didn't have a teammate that would lay over and give me an extra point like they were doing in the back, but I'm so proud of our race team. Both Jonathans, Trip Bruce, Chris Larson, everybody at Halmar International that bust their ass so we can come out here and race and put on a good show. And it's the best truck we've ever had here. We had just a beautiful race car today. It was so fun to drive. And just, like I said, I'm proud of my guys. Thanks everybody at Toyota and TRD for what they provide for us as far as simulation and all that other stuff. And we nailed it. We just came up, we just lost a couple spots in the pits, and the front 2 could fire off a little bit better and get gone. And that was it. I was praying for a caution. It didn't happen. But like I said, I'm proud of our race team. I'm excited to move forward and keep building our race team. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep building over the winter. We're going to go to Phoenix and try to kick their ass first, and then we're going to keep building our race team over the winter, and we'll go from there. Like I said, thanks to Chris and Halmar, all our product sponsors, Toyota, all my guys. I mean, it's a good group. And big thanks to my wife, Jessica, and Parker. I love you guys. I'll see you in a couple hours. That's it. Go Canjo Cougars. Hopefully Parker and the flag team, they whip some butt today.
Thanks, Stuart. Josh?
Here with the 18 of Chandler Smith, who will get a chance to compete for a championship at Phoenix. What does that mean, and how are you getting ready for that today?
That's the biggest thing. That's what we've been working on since we kind of had a cushion after Talladega, is just starting to work on Phoenix stuff. We focused a lot on here. Knew we had to have a solid truck to, not just completely bank on points in our way in, so we wanted to come here and try to win, but we overall just missed it today. But with that being said, we are all focused on going in for a championship, and I'm really happy with that. Being here with my Safe Flight KBM group, I mean, this is awesome to be able to have the opportunity to go and run for a championship. I may never be able to do this in my career again, so really, really thankful for the opportunity. Just super blessed right now, feeling humble.
I know we talk a lot about momentum, and for a while you had it. It looks like Ty Majeski might have it right now, but how do you feel you stack up in terms of being the favorite to win it all?
I'll let that be up to you guys, like I always say. I think we should be okay at Phoenix for sure. We were good there last year. It was good there the year before. It was good the year before. So I feel like that's a track that I do like. So I feel like we have a really good package there, obviously, with how last year went too. So we'll just go do our thing. And at the end of the day, we're racing for a championship. We made it this far. There's a lot to be proud of for the season, no matter how you look at it.
And remember, Chandler Smith did win at Phoenix last year, Regan.
Josh Zane Smith did everything that he needed to do today to make it to that championship 4 in Phoenix. A strong truck, almost getting up there to try and battle towards the end of this race, just a little bit short. Nonetheless, though, you get to race in 2 weeks for a championship.
Yeah, no doubt. Another really good FRM Ford. Man, just that one, I really wanted to get that one. I really don't know what happened there because we short pitted them, and then I came out right where I was when I pulled off to pit. So just a hats off to my whole team. They've put in a lot of hours the past couple weeks, and just really wanted this one for them. But we get to go fight for another championship, which is really cool. So one more left. That's all that matters.
Second place the past 2 years. What's it going to take when we get there in 2 weeks to change that second place to a championship?
Third time's the charm. I don't know. I've pretty much figured out every way to lose one. So, yeah, like I said, third time's the charm. Hopefully, we've been fast all year, regardless of what happens in Phoenix. Just an outstanding year, really. And we know what we need to clean up for next year, which is the most important thing. But hopefully, next year we go be chasing our second championship.
Thanks, Zane.
You know, in many ways, I think getting to the championship 4 at all 3 of these levels, whether it's Cup, Xfinity, or Trucks, if you make the championship 4, that in itself is an incredible championship-like accomplishment, in my opinion.
Yeah, we've talked about the pressure these guys felt over the last couple of weeks since Talladega, and I think now, if you're one of those guys in the top 4, just like Ty Majeski, I think now you can relax a little bit. You just go out to Phoenix and say, hey, we're just going to go out there and try to win the race, try to win us a championship.
And that's exactly what these 4 teams are going to do. I think it's a great feeling to have a week off, get everybody focused and ready to head west and try to win that championship like you said, Phil. But, man, how do you pick a favorite out of these 4 guys?
I can't.
4 guys that have made it there.
6 playoff races. Majeski led a lap at least in every single one of them, the only driver to do it. He won 2 of the 6 playoff races. You have to make him the favorite, don't you?
Yeah, I think so. But Zane's finished second the last 2 years, as he talked about. Chandler Smith won the race last year at Phoenix.
Ben Rhodes won the championship.
I mean, so
Vince, go ahead. Try to convince me differently.
I think that's the great thing about it. You could argue any of those 4 as a favorite and a potential champion. They'll race for that trophy at Phoenix November 4th. Looking forward to that for sure. Oh, what a special day. What a special day for Ty Majeski and Joe Scheer Jr. Win number 2 of the season. They're going to run for the title.
The action is complete here from Homestead, and the championship 4 has been set. The final driver to lock himself in, Ben Rhodes. Ben, what's going through your mind right now?
Deep breathing, trying to relax and get rid of some racing frustration. It was a lot harder of a race than I thought we were going to be in for, honestly. The first stage win was our saving grace. We struggled a little bit in stage 2, but then at the end of stage 2, we had an issue on pit road that took me back from first and 5th to 15th, and after that was a huge workout to try to get back up to the front and getting in by 1 point. Oh, deep breathing. I'm just glad that I was able to get Kubota here into the final 4. I know that it means a lot to Toyota as well and my whole team. They worked their butts off. We've been trying to get more consistent. The season's had its ups and downs. We started off strong, and I feel like we're getting back on the good foot right when it matters.
Ben, how aware were you of how tight things were between you and Stewart there in those final laps?
Yeah, very aware. Maybe too aware. I knew he was in a spot where they told me he could not catch the guy in front of him. I needed to maintain my spot and ultimately pass my teammate Christian to get past that tiebreaker. But I got no slack from my teammates. I was so frustrated at the end. I mean, I don't expect them to cut me slack, but at the same time, they were racing me harder than ever before. And I'm just like, what's going on? They're slack jobbing me and doing all this crazy stuff, dragging me back on the straightaway. And I don't expect any help, but at the same time, gosh, it was so tough to get in. We were battling back the whole day, and I'm wore out. I need a nap.
Ben, is that a conversation worth having, or is it just a clean slate, we're moving to Phoenix?
Clean slate, moving to Phoenix. I mean, this is the Truck Series. I wouldn't expect anything different. My teammates are deserving to be here and running up front to impress their sponsors too. So that's just the way you run in the Truck Series. It's just hard racing, and that's why I'm partial to it and think it's some of the best racing in NASCAR.
Well, Ben, congratulations on locking yourself into the championship 4. Best of luck at Phoenix.
Thank you.
That's Ben Rhodes, the final driver to make his way to Phoenix, still in contention for the 2022 Truck Series Championship. The other 3 drivers who will also be competing for that championship, your race winner here today, Ty Majeski, the only driver who we knew was already locked in heading into today's race. Zane Smith, your regular season champion, he will be competing for a championship for the 3rd time. He's finished runner-up the last 2 seasons. And Chandler Smith, he finished 10th here today at Homestead, and that was just enough to get him into his very first championship 4 appearance. The Truck Series will be back in action in 2 weeks to crown a champion at Phoenix. But for now, that wraps up the action for the trucks here today. Stick around, though. We've got more playoff competition coming in just a little bit. The NASCAR Xfinity Series is next from Homestead-Miami Speedway.
Whatever happens, it's on you. They stood on the shoulders of pride. I stood on the word that is all true. Like gravity, I'm holding it down and holding my crown. Showing these towns that no one around can match with me. I'll be the last one standing. Last one standing. If you got something to prove, go ahead and make your move. Last one standing. Last one standing. I'll be the last one. The last one standing.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.